The Hawks raided the High Court in Pretoria following allegations that surfaced in March. A court employee is suspected of issuing fraudulent documents to undocumented foreign nationals. The fake notices of motion were allegedly used to delay or prevent deportations, a serious manipulation of the justice system. Investigators believe a single individual may be behind the operation and have evidence has seized during the raid will form part of the ongoing investigation. To help us unpack the implications of this development, I'm joined now by Mbekezeli Benjamin, a researcher at Judges Matter. Mbekezeli, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. Let's unpack first the notices of motion. What exactly are those and what generally do they do?
Good afternoon, Vuyo, and good afternoon to the viewers. Well, a notice of motion is a document that a lawyer or yourself, you can draft for you to file and start a case in court. So a notice of motion is usually accompanied by an affidavit that sets out the grounds of the case that you want to file in court. And so the notice of motion is brought by a person to a court to initiate the court processes, and then all the registrar does is to stamp that notice of motion and allocate a case number, and that case is taken to be filed in court. So in this situation, in this particular case, we actually don't know what exactly the Hawks are referring to when they speak about notices of motion. Because first of all, the court does not issue a notice of motion. And if the allegation is that the registrar concerned has stamped or signed certain of the notices of motion that have been brought to her, then that's a completely different question. But for now, a notice of motion is a court document that you take to court in order to get a case number issued and for a court file to be opened, basically.
Now, what are the, I don't want to say best or worst case scenario, but what are the possible consequences of fraudulent documents being issued to, especially to, I should say, undocumented foreign nationals?
So any fraudulent document that carries a court stamp is a huge problem. It's something that we should be extremely worried about because a court stamp carries with it authority. It means that a sheriff, for example, can come to your house and repossess your car or your property. So it's important that there is very tight control over any court document or any court-issued document. And so even if it's in the hands of a foreign national or even a South African citizen, it would be a big problem. But in this case, in Gauteng, in the Gauteng High Court in particular, there were issues of fraudulent court orders being issued about 2017, 2018. And in fact, it was Chief Justice Mogoeng at the time who initiated a project called the Court Order Integrity Project, which was meant to put very tight controls over anyone who has access to a court stamp, anyone who can issue a court-authorized documents. And that process started in about 2018, and later on, we had a full court online system in Gauteng. So for any court document, for it to be issued by a court registrar, it needs to be put on the court online system in Gauteng, and it needs to be authorized by not just one person, but multiple people for it to be properly authorized in the Gauteng High Court. So again, the statement by the Hawks unfortunately doesn't give us full details as to what it is that this person was doing, what kind of documents were they issuing, and how were they issuing them, because there are very few people in the High Court building in Pretoria who have court stamps that can issue court documents. In fact, for the most part, the Gauteng High Court is almost paperless.
Now, I mean, the Gauteng Judge President, Dunstan Lambo, has now apparently directed civil matters to go through the mandatory mediation. But and I'm raising this on the back of what you just said about what was done previously. Whatever happened to that project, of protecting the integrity of such documents?
So it is ongoing. It started off in Gauteng, but it's now a national project because the risk is a national problem where you do find people trying to buy court orders from the different high court divisions, and they use obviously those court orders to do all kinds of things, including hijacking people's businesses, because with that court order, people claim that they've been authorized to take over bank accounts and the like. So the project itself is an ongoing national project, and it has reduced quite significantly cases of fraudulent court orders being issued, because even now the stamp of the Office of the Chief Justice, in which all the high courts fall under, that stamp is a carefully designed stamp. You can't just get it off the street. It's meant to be carefully designed with clear reference numbers and the name of the official who is stamping on that document, so that there is a process that you can use to trace who authorized that particular document. And even now, on the court online system, that system was started off in Gauteng, like I said, and it is rolled out across the country. Just 2 weeks ago, it was being rolled out at the High Court in Limpopo in Polokwane. And so it is an ongoing project to try and stamp out these allegations of fraudulent documents being issued by the court. What I think now needs to be done in this specific case, there needs to be more detail as to how this happened, what exactly happened. Of course, we can't rule out that there is some corruption that may be going on in different high courts. We heard just last week that there is fraudulent, briberies and corruption in the Mthatha High Court. So we can't really say it's not happening. The key question is that there should be full details so that they can investigate and go to the bottom of what is going on.
Now, investigators apparently believe that a single individual may be behind the operation. Isn't that worrisome, though, that one single individual could demonstrably wield so much power?
I think, again, it poses that question about how this is happening and what exactly are they alleging, are the Hawks alleging has happened here? Because, like I said, for you to get a case number issued, for you to get a stamp on a notice of motion, it needs to go through not only one individual, but multiple individuals in the registry division in the High Court. And those individuals authorize different things. So for a case, for example, to be issued, let's say it's a normal motion, it's just, it doesn't involve a trial. It will require the registrar to first scrutinize it, and then a senior registrar to authorize that case number, and that case number has to be allocated to within a specific division of the court. And so it can't really be one individual who's able to issue what they call notice of motion to foreign nationals. I think the chances of that of that happening are very slim. But like I said, in this specific case, there's just not enough detail to conclude as to exactly what happened.
Hopefully, as time goes by, Mbekezeli, and sooner rather than later, we'll get answers from the Hawks and everyone else about those many questions that really do deserve to be answered. Thank you very much for your time. Mbekezeli Benjamin from Judges Matter.